cuckoo nonsense.
But not Lubavitchers or somebody like that.
Well,
like
they're already cuckoo nonsense.
Yes, it's true.
Are they into Kabbalah?
They learn it. I don't know what they do with it.
I don't know who learned it.
Yeah.
Other than Madonna.
Yeah. Oh, right. With that
people who like
that
Madonna.
weird Hollywood cult. Yeah.
I love Kabbalah.
And it was started by a guy who went over in the 40s to England, an American serviceman, to like befriend Aleister Crowley and then hang out with like the Pasadena like Agape Lodge, Jack Parsons people. Like, what the fuck was going on there?
And then what's the ultimate end game? That's just to arrest people, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah, that seems too easy.
I don't think so. I think they were really interested. They thought LSD was like the holy grail. They were the ones who like brought it over and kept the world supply. Was like the secret, was the like CIA and the spooks, right? They wanted to experiment with it on everybody and see what it could do. And like that's what the OTO kind of did, could run like a lot of mind games on people under the cover of magic, right? Because like, what is magic? Magic is kind of mind games, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the willing agents of the state or not?
That's a good question.
Is it just? It makes sense from the state point of view. If you're going to stir the pot, make them believe they're doing it themselves. That way you're not involved. So
Right.
It's be like.
And a lot of people maybe just want to like do it, and maybe a few know something more, or who knows?
And working at counter purposes, yeah, that becomes the soup of like, well, what's real? It dissolves into what it is. It's just what is real. I don't know at this level, you know.
And then look what happened in the 80s, right? By the 80s, you had like this satanic panic and like the born again Christians against like the satanic occult underground, and it just became like a shit show, like a media spectacle, and it's like a total distraction. It's like if people do weird shit in there, it just like it just looks like it's fringy weirdos doing it, right?
Can't be anything important,
right?
Anyway, so I would sit in my room, and it was incredibly quiet most of the time. And I had this fantasy as a child that I'd be sitting in my room, and it would be deathly quiet, and all of a sudden I would hear this sound in the distance, kind of like... Can you hear this?
This was in your imagination.
Yeah. Well, that's too loud, because it would be far away.
Okay.
But then it would start getting louder, and I would think, what is that? What am I hearing? And it would get louder, and then I would realize, oh, it sounds like drumming. And then as it got closer and closer, I would hear more other sounds, and I realized that it sounded like a band. And then eventually, after a little while, as it got louder and louder and louder, I looked out the window and I would see a parade coming down the streets. Like this really big, loud parade with bands and people marching and costumes. And this is why I had to leave Randolph, Massachusetts as soon as I could.
Because they have parades?
There were no parades. There were two parades, I guess. It was Memorial Day and, no, I think that's it. But they didn't come down my street.
Did you think you ever found the parade, metaphorically?
Oh, I found the parade. I found the parade so effectively that I eventually had to get rid of I had to leave the parade. Can you tell us again about this contest that you came in, you didn't win?
When I was growing up in the 90s.
1990s?
The 1990s. In high school, there was a senior superlative.
What's that?
I've never heard of it.
Well, for instance, we rated each other. There was the I Love Me Award. The I Love Me Award.
Okay, this is all the graduating seniors, I guess.
All the graduating seniors. And the I Love Me award was for the most conceited person in the class. And I was the editor of the yearbook, and I went in to school that day hoping I'd be counting the votes for best looking and see a whole bunch of best looking come in for me, and not one voted for me for best looking. But I came in runner-up for the I Love Me award. And then the people who voted for me for the I Love Me award said I rigged the awards because I was the editor.
Because they said you should have won.
I should have won by a landslide, they thought. But I was campaigning to get somebody else to win.
And is that the person who won?
Yes. And they thought that I made it happen, so to speak.
But so this is like more about like what the group mind or the graduating class like thinks of you, right? Like, so if they decide that you're like some student is like the loser, the outcast, the reject, does that mean they really are? Or does that mean is that like just the one they want to like dump their shit on? Right? Like that could be the smartest, most artistic, fucking sensitive.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
There always was a clumsiest.
You were the clumsiest?
Well, okay, so listen. When I was a freshman in high school, they called me Aaron Stumble instead of Aaron Stoble. Well, by the time I was a senior, I changed clumsiest to most likely to fall down a flight of stairs. The people who voted for me for most the I Love Me award said that I came up with this category just because I wanted to win something.
Which one?
Which
Clumsy
category?
one or
The clumsy one. Because everybody knew me as Aaron Stumble.
But on the other hand, take like who, like the most popular girl, like what it like maybe that person like farts all the time. Like,
And here we
did you
go
have a
back
fart
to the
award?
farting.
Did you ever fart award?
The left hand is the hand that wipes. I watched that video.
but I mean, wasn't there like there were like people who wrote books about like high school girls in particular that they are like meaners. They're meaner than the boys. Like the boys like beat people up and like
Really?
bruise them, but like the mind games that the girls play, like of competitiveness and rejection and exclusion,
Sure, I
are
think that's
even
probably
more
true.
mean.
I got so wrapped up in that. And I'd wake up at 5:30 in the morning and do my hair and makeup. And I was talking about campaigning. I campaigned to get all the upperclassmen boyfriends.
But you got everybody else boyfriends. Or
No, I
girlfriends.
got dates. And I
For
would
other
put
people.
it for me.
Wait a minute. I thought.
I wanted to get dates with the best looking guys in high school.
So
I
you
could
campaigned.
gossip for myself by,
What does that mean?
by waking up at 5:30 in the morning to take a shower and do my hair and my makeup and wear a nice outfit
So how's that a campaign?
and trot around the high school. We would have a hallway that we could walk around. And by the time I was a sophomore, there was these twins, and I was dating one of the best body
One of them.
people.
Oh.
And
Was the twin?
the narcissism was coming out then.
So would it be fair to say that people in this high school had some negative projections towards you that they wanted you to like believe into
But
or
I
buy
didn't.
into?
I wasn't aware of it because I truly was popular.
But also, it's like if 20 people are saying something, it's probably true. If 40 people
But my
are saying
graduating
something,
class didn't like me.
that's what I'm talking
I was
about.
friends with the upperclassmen.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean who you are. It just means like what they're trying to convince you are.
Yeah. College was better. That's where I met the Arcadians.
Was that like a family?
The cult.
Yeah, but was it like a family to you?
Well, I was in admiration of them. Because I wasn't really an artist yet.
But did you feel like you belonged? You got approval? You found your
Well,
place?
yeah. But it
Okay.
was short-lived, only for a year, and then I graduated and had a psychotic episode.
That's still powerful. A year is a long time.
Yeah.
Some people don't even get a year of that feeling.
Family.
Or belonging, or connection. Some people get, a few minutes here, a few minutes there.
Are you one of those people?
It's funny you should ask. Never even had that much connection.
What?